Before we jump into today's episode, I want to extend an invite to you. If you're looking to add more money and more abundance into your life, then I welcome you to join me in our newest program called Manifest More Moolah. For more details, go to www.manifestationandmoney.com. It is an 8-week program designed to bring you more money and more abundance into your life. Without further ado, here is our episode for today.
Welcome to the Manifestation and Money podcast, where we bridge the worlds of the taboo topic of money with the woo-woo world of manifestation. We're your hosts, Chris and Jenny Schultz.
We're not just about dollars and cents around here. We're all about lifestyle design. You can be working towards financial independence while still living a life you love today.
Get ready for insightful conversations with guests who have embraced the FIRE movement by achieving financial independence and retiring early, as well as entrepreneurs and individuals who defied the norm and have paved their own way to a life they love.
Together, we'll explore the powerful connection between mindset, financial freedom, and living a purposeful life. And of course, we'll be sharing our own journey to how we carved our path to a 7-figure net worth before hitting the big 4-0. Are you ready to ignite your financial future? Then let's dive right in.
Welcome to the Manifestation and Money podcast, where your journey to financial independence and the life you love begins now.
Imagine an income stream that you could create with very low startup costs and that you could run from anywhere in the world. Got any ideas? You might be thinking about that lucrative world of virtual assistants. And today I'm chatting with Kayla Simmons. Kayla ditched the 9-to-5 grind to try out the VA world herself. Imagine, no glass ceiling and being able to double your hourly rate right out of the gate. So sit back to hear Kayla's story and about her experience being a virtual assistant.
Welcome to the Manifestation and Money podcast, Kayla.
Hi, thank you for having me today.
I am excited to have you on the show because I love the world of virtual assisting and virtual assistants and all that fun stuff. So I would love for you first to share with the listeners who Kayla is and what your story is.
Yeah, so about 3 years ago, I was a paralegal. I was working in a desk, the normal 9-to-5 grind. That's actually what I went to school for. So I did paralegal studies in college. I got out. My first thought was, how am I going to find a job, right? So that was like my main concern. So I just wanted to get into a law office and get my foot in the door. So I did that probably about a month from graduating college. So it's a pretty quick transition. But I think in the beginning, I really missed some of the red flags, wanting us to work overtime, but not getting any additional pay, wanting us to make up sick days. A lot of things just didn't really sit well with me. And I feel like in the back of my head, I was always like, I want to be an entrepreneur, but I have no idea how to get started. What would my first step be? What would my second step be? It was just like something that seemed so far out of reach until I came across a virtual assistant training program. I actually found the program through TikTok. So it's like a TikTok link that led me to the training program. I took the program. And then it showed me A to Z how to start a virtual assistant's business. And the main thing that really drew me in was, one, it was you really don't have to pay anything to get started. So you don't have to invest in training. I would highly recommend it, but you don't have to do that. I mean, you can get started for $0. So it's very low barrier to entry in that sense. And then also in the sense that you don't need additional skills from what you already know how to do in order to offer services to business owners. In my instance, I had experience in legal research and writing. I had some admin experience. So I used that experience and applied it to what I knew or the services that I offered as a virtual assistant. And the magic about it is that you can really do that with any job, any history that you have, any volunteer opportunities you've done. You can pull out things that you're good at, things that you're passionate about, and you can make it into a service package.
Fascinating. And this is something that when you work with clients, I'm assuming that you are working out of your own home space and connecting with people globally.
Yes, absolutely. So for me, I work out of my home. I have a home office. But I've met virtual assistants who travel all over the world. So they go from one country to the next. That's what they want to do. Ultimately, that's what I'd like to do. But unfortunately, my fiance, he still works in the grind. So my overall goal right now is to get him out of that. And so we can start traveling as well.
Oh, that's fun. Is he on board to get out of the grind?
I feel like in a way he kind of enjoys it. Like he likes to be out of the house. He doesn't want to be like cooped up in here. And he's like the kind that it's a slow transition into new adventures and things. So like the idea of like just dropping everything and traveling, he's like, oh, I don't know about it. So I'm still in the process of talking him into that.
Yeah, all good. I'm just curious because some people are like they like the consistency of that. You're just doing your job and you get to leave at the end of the day and have fun. So I'm always
Yes.
curious when there's spouses and one does one thing, what the other view is like. So when you say there's $0 entry, like yes, you said ideally you go get trained in something, but if somebody say got let go of their job tomorrow, what kind of things do you think they would have to have access to be able to do a virtual assistant type job?
So the very first thing that you want to do is like consider what you're good at and how you could transform that into a service package. And as far as the systems and software that you're going to use, there are so many out there that you can get started for free. You don't have to pay for additional systems. If you have a computer, you have internet access, you can get started as a virtual assistant. Now, there will be some fees. You don't have to necessarily pay it all right away, but it really depends on your area. So if your area has specific requirements for a business license, you might have to do that, but it's very low. I think in my area it was like $15 to do that. Ideally, you can get started for $0 as far as like getting everything set up, getting your software ready to go, and getting ready to actually take on clients. You don't have to put any money up front for that, as long as you have computer, internet access, and you have your system set up, which again, you can find several free systems like project management software, communication systems like Slack. You can have a free version of that. So it's just like knowing where to look, and that goal in the beginning is to be as cost efficient as possible, right? Because you don't have that revenue coming in. So you don't want to go out and spend a ton of money on systems and things that are going to ultimately put you in the negative in the beginning. So the idea is make it as cost efficient as possible. That's the way I was taught to do it. And that's the way that I teach other people how to do it.
Yeah, that seems like a very valid point. And for you, this might be a very personal question. How long did it take you to shift from your desk job where you were working out in the grind to saying, hey, I want to become a virtual assistant and have an income that was actually sustaining your lifestyle?
Yeah, so right away, and I don't care to share this. I'm the type of person like ask me about money and I'll tell you about it. So when I started in the law office, I started at $12 an hour, very low. And when I transitioned into virtual assistants, I bumped up to $30 an hour right out the gate. So just using what I already knew how to do, I was already doubling my income in that sense. But yeah, it took me about 3 months to get to the point where I had enough clients to sustain long term and be able to make that transition.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And that to me is a pretty low turnaround time, like to
Yeah,
get a
absolutely.
business up and going and actually getting revenue coming in. And I think the fascinating part of this is like you touched on, if you have access to Wi-Fi and a computer, you pretty much have access to connect with people anywhere that need your services. And
Mhm.
this might be a wild card question here. What are some unique niches that you've seen in the virtual assistant world?
Really, you can turn anything into a niche. If I always say, if there's a market for it, you can do it. If you can explain the need to people and have them understand, okay, I need this, you can make it into a service. A lot of people start as a general admin VA, and then many people will eventually scale into like online business management, operations management. They might go into something like web design. So there's really so many different avenues that you can take in this space. Copywriting is a big one, social media management. That's what I went into. So I started out, my idea was that I wanted to be an admin VA to start, but I quickly found that the need for social media was so big and it was something that I was interested in doing. So I quickly transitioned into social media.
Yeah, helping people get their reach out there. And I immediately in the podcast world, I think, man, like the stuff that goes into a podcast, the editing and the social media of that, like I bet a VA could completely take on the role of editing and uploading someone's
Yes.
podcast for them, right?
Yes, absolutely. So I actually I have an OBM client, online business manager client right now, and we went through an online job fair recently. And I did not realize how many people actually offer podcast management as like a niche service. So it's definitely something that's becoming more popular, and people are catching on to the need for it.
Yeah. And I think that is the thing in any kind of entrepreneurial mindset is noticing what the needs are out there and how you can service that. Because I have a wonderful house cleaner that comes. I don't like cleaning my house. She doesn't mind it and she does a great job, right? So for her, she's getting paid to do something she doesn't mind to do. If we can all find those things in the entrepreneurial world and see, oh, where is that need of that task that I don't mind doing? Ideally, maybe I actually like doing.
Yes.
Then we can all be making money aside from the grind, unless the grind is your thing, because the grind is the thing for some people.
It's not my thing, but it might be some people say yes. So the way I like to think about it is when you think of a business owner, I mean, they're more of like the visionary for the business. They have all these ideas, all these goals, places they want to go. They don't want to be bogged down by administrative tasks. They don't want to be on social media 4 hours a day most of the time. They don't want to do a lot of the back end work that is required to be done in a business, right? That's why they would hire a bookkeeper. That's why they would, hire out people to do these tasks. So if you think about that in terms of a virtual assistant, except at the same time, you are stepping into that business owner world. So it's not like you're being told what to do, you're the employee. It's more of like you're telling them the services you offer. They can accept those services, but also at the same time, like you're considering, are they a good fit for me? It's not just, are you a good fit for them? And you have to shift your mindset when you make that transition. Like you're not an employee anymore, so you're not getting like benefit packages like you would as an employee. But there are, I mean, you can double your pay. There's really no limit to how much you can make as an entrepreneur because now you're driving the ship, right? You're not being told, okay, you're not going to get your bonus for this year. Like it's just not going to happen. You're really in control at that point.
Yeah, I guess you have the control and the fact too of you can choose how many clients you're taking on.
Yes,
To
absolutely.
reflect the paycheck that you want, right?
Yeah. And one big thing when people get started in this, as an entrepreneur in general, it's like, what is the risk? Would it be safer to just be an employee? How much am I risking if I do become an entrepreneur? Am I going to get clients? But if you think of it in terms of if you have 4 clients and you need to let one client go, you still have 3 other streams of income coming in. So it's not like as an employee, if you get let go, that's your income stream. There are multiple income streams and ways that you can create income streams, not just offering direct services to people, but you can also do things like sell digital products that are more of a passive way of making income.
Yeah, you put a very good point out there. So if each client to you is essentially viewed as a stream of income coming in, then to me, logically, a person could be holding their 9 to 5 grind job. They could go out, take a how to become a virtual assistant type course, be starting taking on clients around their current job schedule to kind of start that stream of income coming in before they're like, okay, I'm going to pull the plug and put my notice in, right? And then just starting
Absolutely.
from zero. Yeah. So where are some good places for someone who's like, I want to become a virtual assistant? How does somebody market themselves and put themselves out there to let the world know that, hey, here's what I do?
Yeah, so there's several ways that you can do this. In general, Facebook is like the holy grail for me. That's where I go to find most of my clients. But really, any social media platform you can find clients within. Facebook is just like a central hub that virtual assistants hang out, clients hang out in Facebook groups. They post jobs in Facebook groups. So that's where I go when I'm like, okay, I want to find a new client. That's the first place I look is in Facebook groups because you can find virtual assistant specific groups and clients go in there and they'll post like, hey, I'm looking for a virtual assistant who can do admin work. I need someone who can do social media. Like they are actively looking for virtual assistants in these groups. There's also third-party platforms like Upwork and Fiverr that's where people post what they're looking for. On Upwork, you can let them know, hey, this is my experience. This is what I bring to the table. On Fiverr, you create yourself a profile and then people reach out to you for your services. So you can also do things like that as well.
Okay, so you're planting the seeds in different spots.
Absolutely.
people
Yeah.
for. You said you were able to start charging $30 an hour. And I don't know if part of that is you coming from the legal world too, right? So you're probably able to hit a different target pool. What is the range of prices you see for people charging for VA?
No, so what's really great about virtual assistants is $30 an hour is actually like baseline. I've seen virtual assistants charge upwards of $50 an hour. Now, if you're more of a niche support, say you did social media management for therapists or something like that, you're looking at upwards of $60 plus an hour. Now, I see a lot of people post $25 an hour jobs. I don't look at those often. Like 30 is my baseline minimum, but you will see on average 25 to 30 an hour if you're looking in the Facebook groups. Again, that's for like admin, social media management. As you get into more specialized services and you find your way in the virtual assistants world, you can definitely scale what you're charging up as you go.
Okay. And that makes sense in the sense that if you are, say you said, use the example of like a therapist or something, if you're somebody who knows the internal workings of the systems of how that job operates, you are more valuable, I imagine, than them trying to train a green person who doesn't understand the nuances of that type of
Yes,
career.
that's absolutely like what your thought process needs to be. Like, what is their perception of value for this? If they have someone who's an admin, just a general admin, or they have someone who can do admin work for therapists who has that experience already, they can even charge a little bit more just for that service because they understand the systems already.
Mm-hmm.
They might understand HIPAA laws and everything that goes into running that sort of business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, cool. I would love for you to share maybe what some of your favorite parts of being a VA are, and the good, bad, and the ugly, what you dislike and what you love about it.
Sure. The thing that I love about it as someone who struggles with adult ADHD is just like there's so many different avenues that you can take. So if you get into a service and you find, I don't really like this as much as I thought it would, you can always pivot into something else. Like the opportunities are endless. And yeah, so I've actually got into operations management now, and I'm working on shifting my business a little bit into that as opposed to just solely offering VA services. So yeah, the opportunities are really endless. I think the downside, especially when you're in the beginning, is really just it can be easy to get your mindset in the wrong place. So you really have to like do some mindset work and understand that not everything's going to happen overnight. It doesn't matter what you see on TikTok. Like people don't get this overnight success. Like a lot of people make it seem like they do. It takes work to get to the point to where you want to be. So just setting that expectation, setting realistic goals for yourself is really going to help your mindset.
That makes sense. Well, let's swing around here to how you are in this world of VAs and you also help people become VAs. Is that correct?
Yes. So I actually have a Facebook group, a free public Facebook group. It's called the Beginner Virtual Assistant. That's where people can go right now to get free resources to get started. So I have a virtual assistant's checklist, just like it gives you step by step the things that you need to have in place before you start looking for clients. And then, yeah, I have several resources in that group. You can go in there also and ask questions. There's other VAs that hang out in the group, and there's also clients that hang out in the group. So I have a few people recently who have posted job opportunities in the group as well.
Okay, fun. And now in there, can people like ask you questions and stuff, or is it more a hub of connecting the dots to the people who are VAs and those who have the VA services?
Both. So I actively manage the group. I go in, I answer questions, I welcome new members, and I let them know exactly how they're going to find the free resources. But yeah, so you can use it. You can ask questions, post in there directly. If you need to ask me a question, you can always tag me. And then you can also ask just general questions for other virtual assistants. So it's really just go in there and ask away.
Okay, excellent. And so for somebody listening today who's like, yes, this is something that I feel like I want to check into for myself, where is the first place that you think they should go?
So I would first start out in, like I said, this Facebook group. You can also visit my website. It's Kays, VAsolutions.com. I also have a few resources on the website. I'm in the process of launching my full program, but that's not quite open doors just yet. So I would say if you want to keep a check on everything and be notified whenever the doors do open for that program, certainly get in here, get into the Facebook group. If you sign up for just one of the freebies, then you're automatically going to be on my list of people to notify when my program launches.
Okay, perfect. Is there any final words that you have to say about being a VA that you would like to add?
I would say if you're tired of the 9 to 5 grind, just make the leap. It's really not as scary as our minds like us to believe.
You know what I think it is too? I think it's not as scary as society has taught us that it
Yes,
needs
that
to
as
be.
well.
I
Yes.
feel like we go to school as kids and they're almost pre-training us to be employees in the, you get your recess break, you get your lunch break, you listen to the teacher, you show up at this time, you go home at this time. It's a safe model, right?
I heard a really great perspective recently that kind of solidified why that happens. And if you think of it in terms of like where the teacher's coming from, like they're an employee themselves, they're not an entrepreneur. So of course they're going to instill that framework on you because that's all they know how to do 99% of the time, right? They're not in that entrepreneur world, so they don't necessarily know how to teach about it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So that's why I believe that it's so important to, yes, listen to our teachers, learn what we need to know from them, but also find the people out there who are doing the thing that you want to do and learn from them, right?
Yes, you definitely need mentors and people who can guide you along the way. Definitely wouldn't go about it on your own because there's a lot of elements and things to solidify, but it's really not that hard if you have people to lean on, people to ask questions to. You can really propel yourself very quickly into this space and get really good at offering services and finding clients if you have a support system behind you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining me on the show today, Kayla, and sharing your little bits of wisdom with the people.
Thank you for having me. It was a great time, and thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Manifestation and Money podcast. If you're looking for ways to manifest more money and more abundance in your life, I invite you to join me in the Manifest More Moolah program. It would be you, me, and a small group of other equally cool humans meeting weekly in a Zoom room, exploring different ways to manifest more money and more abundance into your life. For more details, visit www.manifestationandmoney.com. Thank you for listening to the Manifestation of Money podcast. I truly, truly appreciate all of you for listening. Cheers to creating a life you love and the income streams to support it.